Chapter 2 of Costermongering Mechanics. From the number of mechanics, said one smart costermonger to me, that I know of in my own district, I should say there's now more than 1,000 costers in London that were once mechanics or labourers. They are driven to it as a last resource when they can't get work at their trade. They don't do well, at least 4 out of 5 or 3 out of 4 don't. They're not up to the dodges of the business. They go to market with fear and don't know how to venture a bargain if one offers. They're inferior salesmen too, and if they have fish left that won't keep, it's a dead loss to them, for they aren't up to the trick of selling it cheap at a distance where the coster ain't known, or quitting it to another for the candlelight sale, cheap to the Irish or to the Lushingtons that haven't a proper taste for fish. Some of these poor fellows lose every penny. They're mostly middle-aged when they begin costering. They'll generally commence with oranges or herrings. We pity them. We say, poor fellows, they'll find it out by and by. It's awful to see some poor women too trying to pick up a living in the streets by selling nuts or oranges. It's awful to see them, for they can't set about it right. Besides that, there are too many before they start. They don't find a living. It's only another way of starving. The London street markets on a Saturday night. The street sellers are to be seen in the greatest numbers at the London street markets on a Saturday night. Here and in the shops immediately adjoining, the working classes generally purchase their Sunday's dinner, and after pay time on Saturday night or early on Sunday morning, the crowd in the New Cut and the Brill in particular is almost impassable. Indeed, the scene in these parts has more of the character of a fair than a market. There are hundreds of stalls, and every stall has its 1 or 2 lights. Either it is illuminated by the intense white light of the new self-generating gas lamp, or else it is brightened up by the red smoky flame of the old-fashioned grease lamp. One man shows off his yellow haddock with a candle stuck in a bundle of firewood. His neighbour makes a candlestick of a huge turnip and the tallow gutters over its sides, while the boy shouting 8 a penny, stunning pears, has rolled his dip in a thick coat of brown paper that flares away with the candle. Some stalls are crimson with the fire shining through the holes beneath the baked chestnut stove. Others have handsome octahedral lamps, while a few have a candle shining through a sieve. These with the sparkling ground glass globes of the tea dealers' shops and the butcher's gaslight streaming and fluttering in the wind like flags of flame, pour forth such a flood of light that at a distance the atmosphere immediately above the spot is as lurid as if the street were on fire. The pavement and the road are crowded with purchasers and street sellers. The housewife in her thick shawl with a market basket in her arm walks slowly on, stopping now to look at the little stall of caps and now to cheapen a bunch of greens. Little boys holding 3 or 4 onions in their hand creep between the people, wriggling their way through every interstice and asking for custom in whining tones as if seeking charity. Then the tumult of the 1,000 different cries of the eager dealers, all shouting at the top of their voices at one at the same time, is almost bewildering. So old again, roars one. Chestnuts all lot, a penny a scoreballs another. An 8penny a skim blacking, squeaks the boy. Buy, 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 cries the butcher. Half quire of paper for a penny, bellows the street stationer. An 8penny a lotting uns, 2pence a pound grapes, 3 a penny Yarmouth bloaters, all buy a bonnet for 4pence. Pick 'em out cheap here. 3 pair for a halfpenny bootlaces. Now's your time. Beautiful whelks, a penny a lot. Here's Hayford, shouts perambulating confectioner. Come and look at them. Here's toasters, bellows one with a Yarmouth bloater stuck on a toasting fork. Penny a lot. Fine russets, calls the apple woman, and so the babble goes on. One man stands with his red-edged mats hanging over his back and chest like a herald's cost, and the girl with a basket of walnuts lifts her brown-stained fingers to her mouth as she screams, "Fine walnuts, 16 a penny, fine walnuts." A bootmaker, to ensure custom, has illuminated his front shop with a line of gas, and its full glare stands a blind beggar, his eyes turned up so as to show only the whites, and mumbling some begging rhymes that are drowned in the shrill notes of the bamboo flute player next to him. The boy's sharp cry, the woman's cracked voice, the gruff hoarse shout of the man are all mingled together. Sometimes an Irishman is heard with his fine eating apples, or else the jingling music of an unseen organ breaks out as a trio of street singers rest between the verses. Then the sights as you elbow your way through the street are equally multifarious. Here is a stall glittering with new tin saucepans, there another bright with its blue and yellow crockery and sparkling with white glass. Now you come to a row of old shoes arranged along the pavement, now to a stand of gaudy tea trays, then to a shop with red handkerchiefs and blue checked shirts fluttering backwards and forwards, and a counter built up outside on the curb, behind which a boy is beseeching custom. At the door of a tea shop, with its 100 white globes of light, stands a man delivering bills, thanking the public for past favours and defying competition. Here along the road are some half-dozen headless tailors' dummies, dressed in Chesterfield and fustian jackets, each labelled. Look at the prices or observe the quality. After this is a butcher's shop, crimson and white with meat, piled up to the first floor, in front of which is the butcher himself in his blue coat, walks up and down, sharpening his knife on the steel that hangs to his waist. A little further on stands the clean family, begging, the father with his head down as if in shame, and a box of lucifers held forth in his hand. The boys in newly washed pinafores, and the tidily got up mother with the child at her breast. This stall is green and white with bunches of turnips, that red with apples, the next yellow with onions, and another purple with pickling cabbages. 1 minute you pass a man with an umbrella turned inside up and full of prints. The next you hear one with a peep show of Mazeppa and Paul Jones the pirate, describing the pictures to the boys looking at the little round windows. Then is heard the sharp snap of the percussion cap from the crowd of lads firing at the target for nuts, and the moment afterwards you see either a black man half clad in white and shivering in the cold with tracts in his hand, or else you hear the sounds of music from Frazier's Circus on the concert, beseeching you to be in time, as somebody is just about to sing his favourite song of the knife grinder. Such indeed is the riot, the struggle and the scramble for a living, that the confusion and uproar of the new cut on Saturday night have a bewildering and saddening effect upon the thoughtful mind. So endeth chapter 2. I'll see you next time.